All right, time for Sharp or Square with Chad Millman. All odds provided by FanDuel. I had a losing week. 2 pushes, 1 win, 2 losses. I went with all underdogs. I like underdogs again. I'll give you my favorite picks of the week. I have 2 favorites and a lot of dogs. I think my favorite pick of the week is Seattle plus 2.5, and here's why. Brady has been awful in Tampa when he plays in off-schedule games. Very much a creature of habit. Seattle is a young team. Young teams travel well, playing great defensively. Defenses travel well with a great run game. Run games travel well. I like Seattle to win. I don't think Vegas has figured out Seattle yet. They had Arizona twice as favorites over them. I watched 8 quarters. Seattle was significantly better in 7 of 8 quarters. I think Seattle may blow out the Buccaneers, sharp or square.
Totally a sharp play. This line opened at 3. It's moved to 2.5. It's a neutral field game. Professional bettors basically think this should be pick 'em. There should not be sort of the cardiac inflation that is coming Tom Brady's way because of how he won against the Rams last week, which everybody is seeing. If you look at the Seahawks, they are 4th overall in DVOA. Their offense is 4th in DVOA. The last 5 weeks, their defense is 4th in DVOA. DVOA, for those who don't know, just a very fancy way of combining all the metrics that matter to bettors and putting them in one specific metric. What's really interesting about this Seattle team is they're on this long winning streak, right? The 2 games they've lost over the past 7 weeks, Atlanta, New Orleans, those were in the final minutes of the game. This is a team that is very good. It is very fundamentally sound. Like you said, great defense, incredible running game now with Kenneth Walker. The challenge that everyone is thinking about is, have we reached peak Seahawks, right? When you're in the business of investing, you want to get out of the market before it peaks. Is this the peak of the market for the Seahawks? I don't think so. The wise guys don't think so. But start looking for that if those Seahawks do actually cover or win this game.
All right, my second favorite pick of the week, Bears -3 at home. Here's why. The splits are obvious. Jared Goff, comfortable in a dome, has been very effective. Jared Goff, discomfort on the road, awful. Chicago has found the magic sauce with Justin Fields over the last 3 to 4 games. I think Chicago wins handily. They've got some momentum. I think there's real belief in the building, coaching staff, through the roster in Justin Fields. I don't think Goff has that. I think you're going to see some Lions start bailing here fairly quickly with a couple more losses. I like Chicago comfortably, even though they're a favorite -3, sharp or square.
Totally the right side. Wise guys don't love it, mainly because they feel like this is a public play right now. And if you look at the splits, about 85% of the tickets are coming in on the Bears. But look, there are some spots where you can get this game at 2.5. And if you can find a 2.5, take it. I still like it at 3. The Bears' rushing offense is dominant. And I don't just mean in the number of yards they are gaining game to game. I mean in every category that gamblers care about. Yards per carry, explosive plays of 20-plus yards, explosive plays of 40-plus yards, first downs by the run, touchdowns by the run. And what that means is that on first and second downs, they are moving the ball and not putting Justin Fields in bad situations. But you mentioned the play calling. The last 3 weeks, Justin Fields has 21 design runs. In the first 16 games he started, he had 26. The last few weeks against the blitz, 23 of 28 for more than 200 yards, 5 touchdowns, only 3 sacks. Justin Fields is getting better. They're calling better plays for him. They're putting him in a better position to succeed. And by the way, those rush stats I mentioned for the Bears, the Lions defense, bottom 2 in the category of every single one of those categories. So the Bears, short home favorites, you take it.
Depending on the line, all of our odds presented by FanDuel, I would take the Vikings plus 4.5 as they transition in Buffalo, probably to a backup. This offense is completely Josh Allen reliant. They have no running game, and they won't have the deep ball because the Vikings pass rush, like the Jets, will get to that 5-step drop quarterback spot. TJ Hawkinson is a much bigger addition than people think. This is not a primetime game, or I'd stay away from it with Kirk Cousins. It's an early game. It's your 1 o'clock East Coast game. This is a team now. Kirk tends to be a little bit of a check down guy. Remember, he's had, Stephon Diggs complained that he wasn't getting the ball enough. You give him a great tight end. He had 9 catches the first time Kirk had TJ Hawkinson. This is going to be a huge, if you play fantasy football and I don't, this kid's going to get 8 to 10 catches a week. I'm going to take the points in Minnesota, sharp or square.
Yeah, of course you're going to take the points here. I would say that the more it moves down, this gets to 3.5 or 3 by Sunday, you kind of want to pass on this game. Josh Allen, you mentioned him, accounts for 81% of the offense for the Buffalo Bills. They do not have a running game. The challenge with the Vikings, they have been outplayed by every single opponent. They're one of the luckiest teams in the NFL. It happened again this past weekend against the Commanders, and they didn't cover, by the way. The spread in that opened at 3.5. I was telling everybody, take the Commanders at 3.5. The Vikings get lucky in every game. Is this the week where they can actually outplay someone because Josh Allen will either be hurt and not playing or be hurt and limited? You take the Vikings right now, but it's a scarier play. It's not one of the 5 I would play.
Okay. So here's a favorite, a big favorite, and I like them. The most concerning part about Brandon Staley is this. His side of the ball has gotten worse. There are reports that he's losing veteran players. Justin Herbert now is regressing. The Niners healthier with extra time at home. Run the ball. The Chargers are dreadful against the run. Herbert's going to watch the game. He's barely going to be on the field. With McCaffrey and Elijah Mitchell, I think this is a time of possession nightmare for the Chargers. I'm going to take San Francisco -7 at home, sharp or square.
So it's interesting, right? As you know, me and my BFF, Simon Hunter, we have a segment on the Favorites podcast on the Volume Podcast Network where we will get professional bettors that call us. We'll do the podcast twice a week, on Tuesday and on Thursday. On Wednesday, we get calls from professional bettors to give us feedback on the games that we had talked about on Tuesday that we then can talk about in the podcast on Thursday. Number one conversation point was the Niners-Chargers, because Simon and I liked the Chargers at +7. The wise guys have come in on the Niners for a pretty significant amount of money. So you're right here. I disagree. I think because of the time of possession you just mentioned, I think that 7 points with a team like the Chargers, in which decision-making yields such high variance, you never know if they're going to be able to backdoor cover. And it's too big of a number to put yourself out there on the Niners at -7 when they're going to mainly want to run the ball with Deebo Samuel back and now Christian McCaffrey. So you're on the right side. Personally, it gives me a little bit of the heebie-jeebies.
Finally, Steelers +1.5. Mike Tomlin, desperation. Kenny Pickett, I think for rookie quarterbacks, extra time is essential. Tomlin's a great underdog coach. Saints, bad loss, short time. They're a mess at quarterback. None of it's working. Steelers feels like one of the more obvious plays of the week, sharp or square.
Totally sharp. This game opened at 3. It's down to 1.5. Mike Tomlin is optimistic that TJ Watt is going to come back this week. This team, this defense is top 5 defense when TJ Watt is playing. It's a yard per play better as a defense when TJ Watt is playing. Then you talk about Kenny Pickett. Look, he came in against the Jets, nearly won them that game. That performance looks a lot better now thinking about how good the Jets are. Then he held it close against Miami. He beat Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. He's had 2 weeks to get into the offense, has a bye week. Very enthusiastic about Kenny Pickett. He just looks like a gamer, right? He is not afraid. He's going to find ways to get out of the pocket. They're going to put him in a better position than they have been. But also, this is a Mike Tomlin rah-rah spot. Through his career, after week 5, he is 71% against the spread when he is an underdog. All right. This is when you play Mike Tomlin. Love it.
Okay, we always close with two. First, a game I'm not betting. You could talk me into it. My gut feeling is you told me that 5 line is it's a nowhere, no man's land line. 5 doesn't mean anything. So my takeaway is, okay, I'm just going to take the team I think is going to win. I would take Dallas over Green Bay. If it was a 3, if it's a 7, it changes everything. It's a 5. It doesn't matter. I think Dallas is much better. Where would you go on this?
Green Bay. Wise guys love Green Bay. If this game were 3, it would be lined right. But there's about 2 points of value. Green Bay is very unlucky this season. And they are suffering in the red zone, and they are suffering on 4th downs. Every other category, they're an average team. It's highlighted because they don't have a lot of players, because players keep getting hurt, because Aaron Rodgers, everyone thinks he's burnt, and all these kinds of things. But they're still a very average team. And the way this game is being handicapped right now, the odds makers are saying they think the Cowboys are the same team when healthy as the Buffalo Bills. Because remember, the Bills just played the Packers about 2 weeks ago. They beat them by 10 points. The way the lines are matching up, they're essentially the same. The Cowboys are favored by the same as the Bills were against the Packers when they were playing in Buffalo, right? So what you're getting is a team that is inflated because they're playing against a Packers team that is undergoing so much controversy. So the wise guys are going to be all over the Packers. I am all over the Packers.
Finally, a game you're betting that I missed on.
It's so gross. You're going to look at me like,
not one of these.
Yeah, you're going to look at me and be like, why do I even listen to you? Why do I have you
Let
on
me
the
guess.
show?
Is it Broncos?
Wise guys love the Broncos. This line has moved from 3 to 2.5. I will be betting on the Broncos. Jacksonville Jaguars plus 9.5 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Come on, Colin. Listen to me. The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes in this situation, 12-17 is more than a touchdown favorite against the spread in his career. This season at home, they barely beat the Raiders. They barely beat the Chargers. They barely beat the Titans with Malik Willis, not even throwing any to any wide receivers. They lost to the Bills. The Jags have been good all season. They, like the Packers, like other teams, have had very bad luck in the worst possible spots. I think they found a little bit of a success last week with Travis Etienne. They're starting to figure out who they are. Doug Peterson has said we need to get Christian Kirk the ball more. When they were really successful early in the year, they were doing it 9-10 times a game. They went away from that, and then they went back to it last week. He had 9 targets, 8 catches. I expect more of the same. Give me the Jacksonville Jaguars as heavy underdogs against the Chiefs. Just do it, Colin.
9.5 points. It's a lot. I'll say this, though. I don't mind watching the Jags because I'm into Trevor Lawrence, and they've got a nice offense. I don't mind watching them.
Team.
They're not Houston. They're not Indy. All right. Sharper Square, Chad Millman appears to be at some fancy resort in the southwest part of the country.
Not just that. You know what I just did? I'm co-opting a meeting room right now. There's a conference going on. Nobody was in it. I wanted some quiet time for my time with you. Someone just opened the door. I think they own the conference room right now. I gave him one of these one finger and said, Give me a minute.
Yeah, big things going on here.
I'm talking to my friend Colin. Give me some time.
All right, buddy. Good seeing you.
See you, pal.